Hey,
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Very well. It's a
Good.
gorgeous day, so
It is
I'm
a very pretty Friday.
yeah,
This has been a really lovely week.
yeah. I'm so glad we get to chat because I don't really know much about Summit players.
Yeah,
So could you tell me, like, how did you guys start? Who had the idea? Where did it come from? And then how did you end up where you are now?
yeah, it's all Hannah's fault. In 2015, Hannah Clapperch Miller, who was our founder and our first executive director, had the idea. She and a bunch of other folks were seniors that year at Marquette, and she had sort of had a revelation at Potawatomi State Park in Door County, camping with her parents. She saw this; they have this amphitheater,
Yeah.
and she was just hiking through, and she saw it, and she went, I see these in parks all over the state, and I feel like they're really rarely used for much outside of like maybe a naturalist presentation. You'll get, every so often someone will do a talk on owls or something, but usually they're not super used. So she got a group of graduating seniors together that year and said, why don't we do Shakespeare in the state parks? Why don't we work with the DNR and use some of these amphitheaters, sort of bring life to these spaces that aren't really getting used much right now? And so we got a group of folks together, and I got pulled in after someone had to drop out, and I was only a freshman at that time, so I was the baby of the group. But we got a group together. We did our first 6-actor, 75-minute cut of A Midsummer Night's Dream, and we were taking bets in the car on the way to our first show, which was at Richard Bong State Recreation Area down in Kansasville. The question of like, are we going to get 5 people? Are we going to get 10 people? Who's going to bother coming to this thing?
Yeah.
It's 75 people at that inaugural show.
Wow.
So there was an immediate sort of moment of, oh, we're going to have to keep doing this. People like this and want to see it. And yeah, we had great audiences that entire first year. And so we decided after that first summer to make it a nonprofit organization. We got our paperwork done. We formed a board and actually an administrative team, as opposed to just being a bunch of students doing our best. And that's kind of where it finds us. Hannah moved actually out of the country 2 years ago, and I took over as the executive director. She still serves on our board. And so we've, every year other than last year, for obvious reasons, we've toured and we've provided our shows and our workshops in the state parks.
Very cool. So that first year, how many parks do you think you hit?
I think it was 13. I think my gut says it was 13.
And this year, how many do you have?
24.
Okay.
It's been an the first season we closed on the 5th of July. And this season we don't close until the 22nd of August. So we've really made ourselves a bit of a presence for the entire summer.
Yeah, that's so exciting. So how do people know to find you when they're planning their vacations and doing all of that stuff? How do they know to find you?
Yeah, we've got a surprisingly good following, a number of people who kind of look for our stuff year to year, check our website and our social media. But I mean, we have a website, we have a Twitter, a Facebook, and Instagram, a YouTube page. We're pretty present online, and we make sure to do a lot of advertising and letting people know what the schedule's like. And then, we have a relationship with the DNR. Obviously, we're not just showing up and, pitching a tent in the yard and doing shows randomly. Like, they're a wonderful, supportive organization. And so their staff and their friends groups too, the volunteers that help at each park, will be wonderful about putting up posters or postcards, spreading the word in their local community. Sometimes they have newsletters or something. And so we get, because obviously, I am one guy in Milwaukee and I can't go to 23 different counties across the state to spread the word that easily. So we have this really lovely network of people who are willing to put in the legwork on the ground to help us out.
Yeah. And are your audiences still 75-ish people?
It tends to swing somewhere between, I'd say an average audience for us is somewhere between 50 and 150. It can vary, and there are some parks that that can have more people and they have a larger capacity, or they have just a larger population base.
Yeah.
Parks around Milwaukee or Wausau or Madison where there's just more people there.
Yeah.
But even further out, I think you'd be surprised at how much of a demand there is for this kind of thing. I mean, the whole purpose of the company is kind of to eliminate these barriers to theater, to Shakespeare, to theater, to education, to arts, whatever you want. We do it for free, which is an elimination of an economic barrier, obviously, and we do these accessible cuts, but specifically this idea of bringing it geographically to different areas around the state means that someone who lives in Mellon or Winter or Minocqua doesn't have to drive all the way to Milwaukee or Madison just to see a professionally produced piece of theater.
Yeah, yeah. And which amphitheater stage is your favorite?
Oh God, I feel like I'm gonna make enemies if I choose. It's like choosing your favorite child. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna name two.
Perfect.
And I'm gonna say Mirror Lake State Park in Baraboo has, I think, my favorite like structural amphitheater. It's this gorgeous, like very rich toned wood, and they've built this lovely like sloping roof, and it's in this pretty copse of trees. They've got all these stones set out for people to sit on. It is a fairy tale. I love doing shows there. But then up at Rib Mountain in Wausau, their amphitheater is pretty much just sort of a level, playing space of stones. It's not really an interesting space, but the back of the stage looks off the hill over the Wausau countryside, and watching the sun set as the show goes, it's the prettiest experience you could have that summer.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds amazing.
Our first year there, it was the 4th of July. And so as we finished our Midsummer Night's Dream, there's fireworks going off in the background in the countryside. It was magical.
Yeah, that sounds so cool.
It was a lot of fun. So
for those that don't know, you guys all go camping too.
We do. We do go camping. Yeah, there's a sort of combination of hotels and campsites for the touring company, because some parks, like Rib Mountain, don't actually have camping areas, and we want to, make sure that we can reach those areas too. But yeah, the DNR is wonderful, and in and among the other things they provide, they will give us an in-kind donation of a campsite, and so yeah, the players are camping there in the parks, roasting hot dogs over the fire, sleeping in tents with everyone, just like anyone who might see the shows.
And so what's it like for you? Are you the kind of campground cheerleader for the cast, or are you the mischief squasher or the mischief maker? How do you play while you're camping? Or are you, you're the rule follower?
I mean, I think because of my role, I kind of have to be the rule follower. I'd say truly though, in the campground environment, I dub myself Fire Dad. I'm the one who tends the fire, because I also like eating food that is roasted. I want to make sure there's a good fire so that I can have like 6 hot dogs.
So go ahead.
I'm not acting this summer, but I will say you've gotten to the park, you've set up the campsite, you've done a workshop, you've done a 75-minute show, which is a very like active thing. There's only 6 actors, so you're on stage most of the time. It's very much a bit of a marathon. Maybe you hiked earlier in the day. You show up, there's a fire, and you want to, like, I eat, anything that I can get my hands on, because you're just so tired.
So who plans the food? Is that you as well?
That's so usually it's sort of a collaboration between me, the executive director, and our tour manager, who this year is the wonderful Sarah Zapian. And so yeah, we put in the budget for a weekly food stipend, when we bring a cooler, and a lot of it is your standard camp fare. We bring hot dogs, we bring peanut butter and lunch meat, so you can do different kinds of sandwiches if you want. But I will say people get creative and request certain things. Hey, can you bring like tortillas and veggies so we can do wraps and stuff like that? Yeah, and every so often there's a stop off at a Cracker Barrel or some good kind of road trip food if there's a little bit of money left over at the end of the weekend.
Fantastic. Do you have, or have you started to collect any Summit Players recipes? So the weird combinations that have come together over the campfire that like you make each other try, or is that?
I think we might need to do like a cookbook. I feel like
Yeah.
we haven't gotten super weird.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of it is fairly standard camp fare. You do like a foil pack with like potatoes and onions and peppers and stuff. I will say the real revelation of the past few years has been the cast iron, I think they call them pudgy pies, where you have the two squares and you can like make a,
Yeah.
some people make like a grilled cheese, but you can
Yeah.
you can throw like bread and marshmallow and chocolate in there and essentially have a s'more sandwich, and no one judges you. Those have definitely sort of upped our cooking game compared to past years.
Excellent. I guess, springboarding off food, which campsites have the best bathrooms?
Oh, that's a really good question. We don't go there every year anymore just because we adjust our schedule based on, like, if we have a lot of parks in a certain area, we sometimes take one back so that we can reach a different area instead. It's about trying to hit as much of the state. So actually we don't go to Devil's Lake every year anymore, but I will say that I think Devil's Lake State Park, also in Baraboo, has some of the most impressive bathrooms in the state. They have those individual like shower stalls where it's not even that you walk into the bathroom and there's a couple of showers. It's like there's like a row of 10 doors on the outside of the building and each is an individual shower. Those are legit. And when you're on like day 3 on the road, you love like the simple privacy of having a shower stall to yourself.
Absolutely. Do you have any really fun, looking back, not necessarily so fun in the moment, camping weather stories?
Oh,
whether
man.
it's heat or storms or...
I will say we try to take pretty good care of the actors. We have a stipend in the budget specifically for inclement weather if we need to like book a motel for the night, just so that no one has to camp in a thunderstorm. So we don't have a lot of incredible ones because we've tried to keep pretty safe. But I will say one of the years that I was touring as part of the acting team as well as doing some of the management, we were in, I think, one of the state parks in the Door, but I can't remember which.
Yeah.
And our next door neighbors, our the campsite next to us, had just a roaring fire going until like 3 in the morning, and it was very difficult to sleep. They were making a lot of noise, and I do recall wandering across the woods between our campsites, kind of bleary-eyed in my flip-flops at like 3 a.m. and going, guys, your fire is a lot. Can you please like tone? And I imagine these people saw me emerge from the woods like Bigfoot and this, kind of looming out of the darkness.
Yeah.
I imagine it was a little bit unnerving to them. In their defense, they did turn the fire down after that, which was
fantastic. Nice. And I guess with thinking about lack of sleep and knowing that I know a lot of people that have worked with you. So you can be as careful as you want, or you can lean in as much as you want. Who's the worst, loudest, most obnoxious snorer out of all of your casts?
I'm trying to decide if I should expose him, but perhaps I will. A dear friend of mine, an alum of the company who is joining us again this summer for our tour, and he is our music director. He's an absolute genius with music. He's a phenomenal actor, and we graduated together at Marquette. His name is Michael Nicholas. And I've shared a tent with Michael. I've shared a hotel room with Michael. I've gone on camping trips with Michael. The first time I ever shared a hotel room with Michael, he thought I was trying to smother him in his sleep because I was firing pillows at him across the room because I could not sleep for the snoring. So I love him to death. He's a wonderful addition to our team, but he's like a chainsaw when he goes to sleep. And I'll expose him in public for this one shortfall.
Yeah. And who tells the best scary stories?
Oh, I think that goes back to Hannah, goes back to our original executive director. We would have some evenings where we would be all around the fire. She had a particular story that I think was frightening, not because it was a particularly frightening story, but because it involved just screaming at the end, in a way that none of us were prepared for. And I think a few of us almost jumped into the fire. We were a little shocked.
That's so maybe it's a cookbook with your scary stories.
That there we go. They can kind of
Yeah.
they can be on opposing pages, like one scary story per fire recipe.
Yeah. So I was thinking about, my mom, who is not a huge camper, who doesn't necessarily, she tends to be indoorsy, not outdoorsy.
Sure.
So how would someone like her easily find it? And do you link to hotels outside of just the campgrounds? Do you share some of those resources with concierge? I know that that's probably a leap, but some of those sorts of flyers in small hotels, or do you do things like that?
That's a really good idea. I don't really think we do. At least we don't as a policy. There may be some of the friends group or some of the park staff in certain locations. I mean, the nice thing is, especially these friends of the state park groups are fantastic, and I will plug for them. If you're in an area with the state park, you should really look up the friends of whatever Lake State Park, because they're usually really great organizations that are doing all of this work for the parks pretty much just as a volunteer. But they're usually our link to the local community. So they'll put up posters in like coffee shops, and they'll tell their friends. I think I should tell them about hotels though. I think that's an untapped market is what
and
that
rest
is.
stops, right?
Rest stops, yeah. I had been playing with, because you always stop at those rest stops and there's like trifold pamphlets for all of these attractions. I had tried to get a little bit of money this year to do one of those, and I don't know that it's going to work out, but I think it's a future investment. So if anybody wants to be the funder who puts Summit Players Theater in rest stops across the state, hit me up.
Yes. And on that note, I was going to end with this, but we'll throw it in now. Do you guys need, other than money, because that's a given, but do you need things like tents and campfire grills, or more of your pudgy packs? I don't know.
Pudgy pies.
That's it. And I have them. I just couldn't remember what they were. Do you need any of those things? So if someone decides I'm never going camping again and wants to get rid of all of their stuff, do you take it?
We always welcome donations like that. Yeah, I mean, from the big camping stuff, like tents. I mean, we have a couple, but it's never a problem to have more sleeping bags, things like that. To even the simple stuff like sunscreen and bug spray and bottled water. I mean, think about what you would need to bring camping and then apply it to 8 people. And we are, people's donations of money buy those things for us, but if people just want to donate those to us directly, we are always open to that.
Cool. And do you have a trailer, like a unit?
Right now we rent a van. We rent a 15 passenger van, and that's big enough to transport all of our supplies and also the cast and their personal belongings. I think that's definitely in the cards for the future, is some sort of large mode of transit that we can own ourselves. Yeah. I've also considered getting a school bus. I think that's got a real fun, like do-it-yourself vibe. Yeah. But a trailer or a bus or something big that we can own, I think, is probably in the next 3 to 5 years a step we should take. Yeah.
And speaking of school buses, I know that you guys do a decent amount of like pre-education programs before you perform. Can you tell us a little bit about like what you do and how you come up with that piece too?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's sort of been another piece that's from year one was a really important thing. Was we showed up, we teach a 45-minute workshop, and then we do the 75-minute show afterwards. And the workshop has kind of evolved over time. I think people will be excited this year. It's a very new workshop. We've pretty much redeveloped the curriculum, so it's the kind of stuff to learn that we all need to learn about Shakespeare, but it's very show specific, and we try to keep it very active and very interactive. So you're learning about Shakespeare, you're learning about sort of the plot and the themes of The Winter's Tale, but you're doing it in such a way where maybe we're having you act out short moments from the play, or we're inviting you to sort of enact things in your body. What is it like to be the king of the place? What is it like to be, the queen? And magical elements and nature elements, trying to sort of tie all the themes of what we do together into a sort of a small educational package.
And so when you do those packages, do you also advertise those through the DNR? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, because it's all part of the same program. So you can come, we say you can come for one, you can come for either, you can come for both, but they really do sort of supplement each other in that coming for both, you're going to get a really robust experience.
So, and when I think about, what I know of Summit, is part of it is your approach to finding humor in different places in different ways. Can you, without too many teasers or too many spoilers, can you give us a little bit about Winter's Tale and where you decided to like lean into your style, your approach?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting to do Winter's Tale 2 summers technically, but only 1 season after we did Romeo and Juliet, because Romeo and Juliet is such a comedy that ends in tragedy, right? It's so funny at the beginning and then it gets sad. And I think The Winter's Tale is kind of the reverse. It starts very serious and very heavy, but then you get into this sort of lovely mode of you're in the forest and there's sheep shearing and there's all this fun singing and dancing. And so we've we've leaned into it, especially there near the end. And I think people will recognize that. But we're trying to find little moments to tweak that humor. We call it Shakespeare's fairy tale. And so if we're not leaning into the humor, we're kind of leaning into sort of the magic or the more fairy tale elements. You have this, Leontes, this king, this, this sort of corrupt maybe or egotistical king, who is terrible to his wife, to his queen Hermione, and it results in their daughter being lost for a long period of time. So you have this plot of the long lost princess who finally discovers that she's the princess and not just a shepherd. It's a real fairy tale, and I think that people will recognize it as such and will enjoy it in that way.
Thank you. And right before we go, because I think, unless there's anything else that I haven't asked you about, can you, and maybe you don't know off the top of your head, do you have the dates for your like closest in-town things so that people that are right here in Milwaukee can kind of go put those on their mental markers for?
I can absolutely. Yeah. So we have a few shows that are directly in the Milwaukee area. On June 18th, which is a Friday, we're at Three Bridges Park, which is down by the American Family Field. It's right off the Hank Aaron State Trail. And then on it's July 16th and August 9th, we're at Havenwood State Forest on the north side of the city. Okay. So July 16th is a Saturday, but August 9th is a Monday. This sort of attempt to, if you work weekends or if you're busy, if you're going to go out, you can come on a Monday night instead, and you still have the opportunity to see the show.
Great. Thank you so much. I think, there's a lot of fun in there and things that I didn't know. And I appreciate just getting the opportunity to talk to you and find out more.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. So I guess, thank you. And everybody check out summitplayers.com. What is it?
Summitplayerstheater.com. And that's with an R-E, not an E-R.
Okay. Fantastic.
All right. See you in the parks this summer.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Theatre, not a theater. It's a theatre. Summit is a theatre.
Yes.
I'm trying to, get into that like podcast mode, because eventually what we would like to do with this is put it into the audio format as well. And so we need to make sure that we're being clear about the tree versus the tur. So
yeah.
I love all the accessibility that smaller theaters offer. I really think that, and I might be just a bit biased, I really think that, the smaller companies really have the ear to the ground and are really pulling themselves up by their bootstraps, which we love here in America, and getting out there. And I want to get Summit a bus.
Yeah.
I want to get Summit a bus. I want to figure out how to make that happen. Oh, because Summit is a new member of the Milwaukee Theater Alliance. So maybe we can figure out how to do a bus drive for Summit.
Yeah. Well, with like a community paint day where we all come in and paint
the logo on the side. Summit logo, which is I love their logo. I think it's so cute.
I will throw out there that the bus is probably easier and cheaper than the insurance. So maybe it needs to be bus and insurance drive, so that we really like make it easy for them to, that we have both there for them to support them through it, because insurance is going to kill us all.
Insurance is going to kill us all. That's right. Whoa, man. Yeah. Yeah. How is that insurance over at Sunstone, huh?
Yeah, it was a delightful find to understand how all of that works.
Oh my God. Oh, that's it. I keep talking about how I'm going to start another like web series podcast about the ins and outs of non-equity, non-union theater, and really what it takes to make that happen. Because I think the public at large could use some help in understanding like the differences between equity and non-equity, and how the systems vary, and how much things like insurance can really slay the smaller companies, or even like liability insurance for like a small, but that's another podcast, another time. So
that's right.
Yeah. I know that Amber has parking issues, so we should like. Hey, if anybody's around town, police officers, like leave Amber alone down there. She's doing the good work of people right now, so just chill for a hot second. I just wanted to quickly remind people that it's Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. We did put some links out in our newsletter, which is also a thing to tell you. You can sign up for our newsletter at MilwaukeeTheaterAlliance.org and get all these like little bits and pieces of things that we try to get out to the public, all in one aggregated resource once a month. And we send that to you, and then you can go back and you can check all these aggregated things, and it's great. Yeah. But we sent out a couple of resources about through the end of May to just check out Asian and Pacific American theater resources and just see the wonderful work that they're doing, to put a positive light after we had such a real difficult stretch, and not that it's over or anything, but the Stop Asian Hate movement. The positive thing that came out of this was to put a spotlight on the Asian Pacific American community and the art that they're making, particularly in theater. So this is just a reminder to Google that stuff. Oh no, are they coming to parking? No. Oh, okay. All right. Just see, I say things and then things happen. I just hate it when that happens. Here is a Pink Umbrella Theater. This is a tur, not a tree. This is a tur. The Pink Umbrella Theater summer schedule is out right now, so that you can join them for outdoor and virtual classes. There's something for everybody under the umbrella. If you don't know Pink Umbrella Theater, I'm gonna keep like spouting it off. There's this amazing company here in Milwaukee, started by Katie Cummings, who is just an angel on earth, for providing a space for persons who identify with a disability and getting them involved in theater, where traditionally it's been difficult, to say the least. So, but if you have somebody in your life that identifies with a disability, this is a great company. It's a great community. Head over to pinkUmbrellaTheater.org. Skylight has a bunch of things going on right now, but just in this next week, they have their kids' rights program going on until June 13th. It's such an amazing program that gets kids to write lyrics and dialogue for musicals, and then professionals get involved and like help them do this process, and having kids' words in a musical. And it's just, I would, if you're looking for, just something to make your day feel better, check out Skylight's Kids' Rights. It's for 3rd through 8th graders. And then normally they tour it, but it's obviously COVID. So they have the virtual version this year. And their theme was a time capsule. But they also have a summer stock high school program this summer. Check that out. They're accepting applications through next Friday, so you've only got a week left to do that. But they're doing a 2012 Broadway revival of Godspell on the 30th, 31st, and August 1st in the Cabot at the BTC. Beautiful, beautiful space. I mean, just a professional experience that kids could have. So awesome. There is a tuition, but they will work with you to pay that. You can go to skylightmusictheatre.org for that. Cooperative Performance Extended, also a new member. Huzzah! They have a performance of Thunder Domestic that they just extended through Sunday, through the 16th. It's an interactive narrative dance theater experience exploring family dynamic memory and personal investment. It's devised and directed by Zach Byron Scorch. So you can go to cooperativeperformance.org. I've got a friend of mine who is really opinionated, and they said that this is awesome. And so I'm going to take that as the Bible. And so you should check that out. Tickets are only $15 and make that happen for yourself and see the work that Cooperative Performance is a really unique animal. And they make some really, I would say mind bending. Like it just stretches your idea of like what theater is and the scope of performance. They're really like amazing part of this community. So we're excited to have them on board. This is for Shakespeare in the Park just announced their whole doodad of what they're doing this summer. They're doing a Midsummer Night's Dream this summer through also a park related performance. I love that we have 2 Shakespeares going on every summer. I think that's just a wonderful advantage that we have in Milwaukee. That they are looking for, if you're an organization that's looking for a performance, you can contact Susan Scott Fry to make that happen for your organization and get a performance of Midsummer Night's Dream near you. And you can go to freeshakespeareinthepark.org for that. But they are also looking for Midsummer Night's Dream. They're looking for sound engineer. They're looking for wardrobe and run crew. This is professional opportunities and paid work for non-union independent contractors out there. Work with Shakespeare in the Park. Get it on your resume. Get some great experience. And you get to do Midsummer, which is just super fun. I always have to thank and applaud and all the things. ImagineMKE.org, an amazing organization that works with the Milwaukee Theater Alliance. And really, I mean, they are the umbrella to end all umbrellas of artists in Milwaukee. But my biggest favoritist piece about their work is that they're massive advocates. And they are really interested in getting people to be advocates so that we can get more voices into our representatives and letting our representatives in government know how important art is in our lives and the full breadth of what art is. You know, we're theater nerds, but, you know, there's, you know, visual and music and dance and the whole nine. And so if you're interested in finding out more about them, which you should be, imaginemke.org. And then if you go to imaginemke.org/act, they can give you all the tools to be a better arts advocate. But tomorrow we've got a very, very, very important event happening because somebody just like opened a new venue, and we may have heard about it last week on you've got a thing, and like there's this fundraising thing, because again, with the non-equity and the no money and the this and that and this and that.
Yeah.
This was started by Maura Atwood, who's an actor, artist person here in Milwaukee. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Amber, about the whole idea?
Maura had this idea that it would be fun to read, 2021 sonnets over the course of the summer, and to try to figure out how to tie it to, friend raising and fundraising for Sunstone, because we, haven't really existed, and all the things that we have to do here require both. And Maura has been a huge support, both in showing up and spackling as many walls as she can get to, but also just being here with me as we're going through this, and the rest of the team, and being an emotional support. So her having this idea to reach out and find fun ways to perform, specifically with those, the poetry is a big part of her life and her writing that I'm honored to get to read. So it just seemed like a natural layup for her. And so she asked if she could do this. There'll be little pop-up sonnet reading moments all summer long, all over the place, so that we can kind of build that community for Sunstone of who and who we're going to meet and where, and what sort of great ideas like this people want to bring forward. Because that's a big part of what we want to do here, is make sure we're empowering young artists, new artists to organize in different ways.
Yeah. I like how they on the internet it said perform safely in unconventional locations that have probably never been a theater before.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that's going to transpire over the summer. But there's also a GoFundMe.
Yes,
out there for Sunstone. I checked the total. It's almost there, but you should always give more money.
And we're going to make some adjustments. We really wanted to focus on the friend piece, and have been humbled by the financial support that we've received. So we will make adjustments, because with every theater, there's always more insurance to buy, right?
Always.
So there are lots of things that we didn't put on our first list, because we just wanted to get open. But there are lots more, like with every theater, things that we can do to make it a more accessible financially, more accessible physically, and a better experience for the audience as well as the actor. So
yeah. Because ultimately, all of us would love that anybody who needs a free ticket should have one.
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, ultimately, like, if we could be as amazing as like theater is free, period, like that would be awesome. But it costs money. Like, it costs money to turn on the electricity. We don't have any control over that. So I do have to. But you can go to Sunstone Studio MKE.com.
Yep.
To follow all the links there. There's also a 2021 sonnets group on Facebook that has all the resources there. I do have to give a shout out again, because I'm like super partial to the amazing badass artwork that my Danks did. If you're just listening to this, find it on the internet, because I love that woman, and hopefully you'll be able to see her perform in the Nether again this fall. Because she did a super badass job, because she's just a super badass. Yeah. So thank you, Maya, for your amazing art and all your contributions, and all those young people, because we're so old. All those young people they just have so many gifts. They have so many gifts. It's they're like performers, but they're artists, they're musicians, they're just an amazing community and amazing artists that we have here in Milwaukee. Just so happy.
Yeah. It is it's been, again, humbling to see kind of how people are coming together and finding ways and coming up with, those ideas of what to do. I know that Maya's art was on some Facebook conversation. I don't think it was part of like the official Sonnets page, where people were like, where are we getting t-shirts? How can we get the t-shirts? Yeah. So they're all lots of people coming together and supporting each other.
Yeah. I mean, because ultimately the reason that you jumped on getting Sunstone in the old off the wall space in the first place was because we could not afford another loss of a space.
Correct.
We just could not, with, the Underground Collaborative closing, and then 53212 couldn't stay in their space above Company Brewing, and it was just like one after another, and then Off the Wall was going to close, and you're just like, come on. As for us, for small companies, we need more space.
Without a doubt. And making sure, I don't know who I was talking to, but you don't get to perform at the Rep until you've done something in the smaller spaces. Like, you have to kind of learn all those rules of the road in the small and the medium spaces that are trying to be as professional as they can based on their budgets. And there's no like getting to that next step that people all think, well, that we still have theater because we have that, but we won't have that 10 years from now because we don't have the groups underneath that are coming up and working things out and writing new plays and testing out those new plays in small audiences where it's okay to have it totally fail the first time, and then the third time it works. There are we definitely need more spaces that are small to medium size that let artists really test their own limits.
Yeah, because I think that we know, and I mean we, like the smaller to medium theaters, know the boundary pushing and the stories that get told on the sort of quote unquote like fringe level that the larger professional theaters aren't at. There's so many things that work into like season building and the whole nine, but we at the bottom rung and the experimental boundary pushing,
bottom rung, we're the first step, right?
Well,
it's the first step on the way. It's not the bottom rung, right? It's that first step that you have to take the risks where you can afford to.
Yeah. And what we contribute to the community,
yes,
is needed and necessary and valid. And artists don't just like appear out of nowhere.
No, we have to grow and develop and fail, and
we have to fail and get better. Yeah,
and try new things and feel safe in both financially as well as physically as well as emotionally in taking those risks. And a place that seats 700, the financial risk alone is too big to try something truly new.
Yeah.
Because if you don't sell a seat, you don't survive. Where in smaller spaces, if you don't sell a seat, you have a little bit more play to figure out what to do for the next night.
We're like, screw it. We're all working for free anyway.
That's right. Yeah.
Like the whole thing about like storefront non-equity is, as long as the number of people in the cast is less than the number of people in the audience, you're good. And I have done so many 2-person shows that we're just like, oh, there's 3 people in the audience. We're good. We're going. Yeah. We're making it happen. We just made $45, you guys.
Yeah, but that's when you can try really crazy new things and see if they work.
And that's why we need places like Sunstone, like rest in peace, the Underground Collaborative.
Yeah.
Because like it's hard to rent from the rep. It's they have bills to pay. They have artists to pay. So their threshold of what it costs to make that happen, instead of like, the Underground Collaborative or Sunstone or whatever, where you have like 2 or 3 people that you have to pay, the overhead is just a little bit lower.
Yeah.
Well, except insurance.
Yeah, except for insurance, because nobody cares. Yeah. Yeah.
But again, I love this discussion. Because I'm so passionate about it, and I'm so needing to make sure that whoever wants to perform and whoever wants to put something together can make it happen. And so that's just that's for my other podcast.
Yes,
totally making it happen. I need a break. We're going to take a break here shortly from You've Got a Thing. I know that we'll have a couple of episodes over the summer, but we need to take a little bit of we have been going since we started. This is the 29th episode, people, like that,
Yeah.
There's some work there. So we're going to take a break, but I do think it's important to get some sort of educational aspect on these things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And
make people know.
That's right.
Because I think a big piece of the problem of culturally why the arts are traditionally more underfunded is because of the lack of education, that people don't understand all the work that we do and what we provide, and this, so much. There's so much there. There's so much there.
Yeah. But it's part of the fun for us too, is to figure out, be those problem solvers and get, keep figuring out ways to work. Yeah.
I feel it. I feel the sea change. Yeah. There's so many of us right now who are so concerned about, the health of the theater community on the whole, and the advocacy, and and we've seen the numbers of patrons go down and things like that. That there is a sea change and shifting gears and being like, okay, folks, we gotta talk a whole bunch louder and a whole bunch more.
Yeah, and finding new ways. I mean, I think COVID forced us to all realize how easily what we did can go away, and how easily, it can change quickly.
Right.
Take the pieces that worked, things like this, streaming, podcasts, and to build our brand and our industry in a very thoughtful way, saying, we learned a lot, let's keep moving it forward as a community.
For sure.
Yeah. I think there's
a
fun time to be alive.
Yes.
Yes.
More work to do.
Great stories that we've lived,
For real.
Yeah. That get to color our art once we get to make it again. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for hosting.
Oh, thank you. This was fun. Yeah.
I'm gonna get down there soon because I'm all vaccinated.
As am I. I'm all vaccinated.
That's how we work around here. We're like, is getting 2 shots in the arm going to help me get back to making my art? Yes, it is. Well, then give me those MFing shots right now.
Well, and I got to hug someone outside of my family today. That's also huge. Like, we tend to be very these artists, and it's, a consensual hug with another adult that doesn't need anything from me. That's actually really nice too,
Yeah. Yeah. Soon. All the consensual hugs
the consensual hugs we can have. Yeah.
But I'm excited to come and see all the new things at Sunstone, because I haven't gotten down there yet, but we're going to get there because I miss downtown.
Yeah. Anytime. I'm here a lot.
Paying all the insurance.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much out there too for sticking around and coming back every week and listening to our nonsense. And my nonsense, really. But we'll see you next week. Oh, I already have a guest next week.
Oh,
Susan Scott Fry is going to be on next week, talking about Midsummer and on their whole plan, because that's a whole big doodad as well. So I'm excited to hear about her plans. And yeah, get out there, people. It's nice outside.
Yes, it is. It is.
So come listen to this show first and then go outside. But we'll see you next week at 11:30, just like we do every week. You've got a thing.